Welcome back to the second half hour of K-Man 27 News. I'm Kevin Morales. It's that time of year, like we said earlier in the show, we're all busy making resolutions. Well, most of us. And a lot of times, those resolutions, well, they kind of fall to the wayside after around January, the end of January or February. Joining me now is psychotherapist Sutton Burke. Hopefully, she can give us some insight and some tips on how we can stay on track. Sutton, thanks so much for joining me. Based on our short conversation in the commercial break, that's not necessarily everything that you want to talk about in terms of resolutions. What's your kind of outlook when it comes to people saying, starting tomorrow, I want to do this or that?
Well, sure. I mean, we like to think of every day as a new opportunity to start your resolutions or your goal setting.
Right.
But January 1st, the new year, is looked at that time. So a couple tips. Just be realistic in what these goals are. Don't have too many. Lots of people,
Right.
we write down like a huge list of New Year's resolutions and there are 20 things on the list. It's not realistic, right? So come up with a few. Why, and then what's the purpose? What's the intent? Why are you, having these particular things as your resolutions? Really think about that. What's the why? What do you want to get out of that? And focus on that. And calendar. Put everything in your calendar. Remind yourself to be working on those things.
Right.
Having little special reminders around your house. Certainly talking to people about them. But no, that's not what I would necessarily suggest, is to even have New Year's resolutions.
So what would you suggest for somebody who wants to make a change in their life?
First, look at what are the things that you've already said you wanted to change. What are some of the things you're working on or that you said you were working on last year that you want to enhance? And how can you enhance those things as opposed to adding something new?
Right.
What can you do just better that you're already doing? Right. Yeah.
And because everybody has New Year's resolutions, and they all are around the same day. It's almost a lot of pressure. It's almost too much pressure, right?
Sure.
To keep those things going, where maybe as if you started doing them a little bit throughout the year in July or whatever, there'd be kind of less pressure to make sure that you go and do this, and less chance that you'll feel like you failed if you stopped going to the gym by the end of January or whatever the case may be, right?
Absolutely. You want to check in with yourself on a daily basis and see, are you meeting those goals, or are you working towards those 5-year goals that you've set for yourself a while ago? A lot of times we forget about those because of things that come up on a daily basis and those stressors that we're all dealing with. But we can start anytime. A diet doesn't have to start on Monday, doesn't have to start on the 1st of January. You can choose to start meeting your goals now. We're going to be doing a talk at the end of the month all about boundary setting and really saying no. So not adding new things to your plate, which we all do January 1st, but what are some things that we can start taking off of our plate now? Make that a goal. What are some organizations that I'm a part of that take up too much of my time, and what are the organizations that I want to spend more time and volunteer more with and help them more, instead of adding things, how can I spend more time with my kids in this capacity, right?
Right, yeah. Let me ask you, how can we keep ourselves accountable? You had mentioned, put something in your calendar. Make sure that you're checking back with yourself a month from now, 6 months from now, et cetera. But what other things can we do to make sure that we achieve our goals, whatever they may be?
Yeah, you're writing them down. A little tip that I like to recommend to people is start from 5 years from now, and then if that's where you want to be 5 years from now, then start backwards on, I need to do that the month before, the month before, the month before, and come all the way to now. What do I need to be doing to reach these goals? And really have that list, and then you can check on yourself to see if you're meeting if you're meeting those short-term goals as well.
Right.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit a few minutes ago about there's a lot of pressure surrounding New Year's resolutions, and they often do fail. But it is important to have goals, right?
100%, yeah. Well, you want to be able to look back on your life and have, had some accomplishments. Accomplishments make us feel good.
Right.
Acknowledging ourselves for the accomplishments that we have. It doesn't have to be that we made $1 million, but, that you accomplished something new, you made a new friend, or you maintained a new friend, you maintained a friendship. Small things.
So what do you got? You got anything planned? Not necessarily for tomorrow, but just this next year?
Just continuing to hold myself accountable for the goals that I've already been working towards.
Very good.
Yep.
All right, Sutton Burke, thank you so much. We really appreciate your time.
Thank you so much, as always.
All right, don't go anywhere. Coming up after the break, we've got more K-Man 27 News. And remember, we want you to WhatsApp us any photos, videos, any news tips. We want to know what's happening out where you live. You can hit us up on the news hotline via WhatsApp, 527-2727. We'll be right back.